The moment my brother's car pulled into the driveway, I saw his wife's laughter through the window glass. That kind of laughter that carries the sound of victory in it. When the door opened, cold air came in along with their arrogance. I was still holding a basket of folded clothes. I set it down beside the couch. Footsteps spread through the hallway as if this wasn't a house but a courtroom. Taking off his jacket, my brother said, "This house is mine now. You can take the guest room or get out." His tone sounded as if he were waving a document where my name had already been crossed out. I looked at his wife. She wasn't looking at me, she was looking at things. My room, my space, my silence. At that exact moment, my father came out of the kitchen, a coffee mug in his hand, that tired anger in his eyes that is always unloaded on the weakest person in the room. My father added, "I don't want to see you here by tomorrow." I didn't ask, why? Because why is an invitation for them. Argument is oxygen to people like that. I just nodded as if everything had already been decided. I went inside, opened the closet, pulled out the large suitcase. The sound of the zipper traveled all the way to the hall. Short, clean, decisive. I didn't throw things in, I arranged them. In every fold there was no scream inside me, only calculation. My laptop. My passport. My bank papers. A photocopy of my social security card. The folder with my pay stubs. My hands didn't shake. I checked the notification settings on my banking app, then quietly turned on data backup. I locked my 401k login with Face ID. This wasn't leaving a house, it was lifting a piece off the board. That night in the guest room I stared at the ceiling, and for the first time I understood that all of this was a game. They had power, the house, the noise of family, my father's voice. I had time and silence. I set my alarm for 4 in the morning because that's when life in America really moves. When people are sleeping, buses are running, shifts are starting, and decisions are being made. I checked my credit card auto payments because I had once been a student and I knew how student loans weaken a person. I didn't want to stay weak. The next morning I placed my suitcase by the door. My brother didn't look at me even while eating breakfast, as if I were a piece of furniture meant to be removed. My father said, "Leave the key on the table." I placed the key exactly where he wanted it, but I left something else there too: silence. When I stepped outside, there was dew on the neighbors' lawns, that same refined suburban quiet behind which every house hides its own small jungle. I didn't call an Uber. I wanted to walk to the bus stop, to clear the maps inside my head. I worked at a retail store, the kind of place where people say, "Hi, how are you?" all day long without caring about the answer. In the break room there was the beep of the microwave, the cheap smell of coffee, and my coworker's conversation. The 401k match went up, but rent went up too. I nodded. Rent, debt, insurance. This is the real language of America, not Instagram. During that same break I put on my headphones and wrote down the 3 parts of my plan. Find out, prepare, make the move. Finding out was easy. My brother had never been good at hiding things, only at making noise. That day after work I checked property tax information on the county's public records website, something any ordinary person can do. The house was in my father's name, but the previous month a quitclaim deed had been filed. Someone had tried to change ownership. My hands didn't shake again. I took screenshots with dates and document numbers. Then I called the legal aid number in my city. I didn't tell my story, I only asked a question. If someone tries to change ownership and force out a person living in the house, what's the proper process? The woman on the other end said in a tired voice, "Not without eviction. And if there's fraud, it's an even bigger problem." I said, "Thank you," and ended the call. I didn't carry the weight of emotions. I picked up the language of the law. Preparation happened over the next 2 days. I looked at a small apartment, old but clean. I used my emergency savings for the security deposit, money I had built over years, because I knew family never stands with you in an emergency. At work I told my manager I wanted extra shifts on the schedule. He asked, "Everything okay?" I said, "Yes. Just planning." That sentence held my entire truth. I made my move in a way that no one could point a finger. I didn't call the police. I didn't make noise. I didn't post on social media. I only did what was correct on paper. I submitted a formal request to the county recorder's office for a copy of the deed. Then, with advice from legal aid, I prepared a simple letter, something like a notice of occupancy rights, that stated only facts. I had been living in the house, I was being forced out illegally, and any eviction required court process. I sent the letter by certified mail to my father's address and kept a copy for myself. This wasn't revenge. It was a mirror. On the evening of the third day, there was a Thanksgiving-style family birthday dinner. Excuses change in our family, not the spectacle. I didn't go. I sat in my apartment eating Chinese takeout and watched the parking lot light through the window. That was the moment their phones started ringing like mad. I learned that later, but I understood it instantly. Because when the certified mail receipt arrives at the door, the first crack appears in the wall of arrogance. The first call was from my brother. Then my father. Then my sister-in-law. Then some uncle. Names lit up on my phone screen like small alarms. I didn't hit decline. I turned the phone face down on the table. On my laptop, I reopened those screenshots, checked the dates, the document numbers. I checked my direct deposit in my bank account. I reminded myself, in a game, reaction is loss, planning is victory. Then the messages came. Talk to us, there's been a misunderstanding. Don't do this, think about the family's respect. Just come back, your father is sick. I didn't place my finger on a single one. For the first time, I didn't even mark their message as seen. Because even seen would have told them they could still shake me. I gave them only one thing. Silence and a clear wall within the limits of the law. 2 weeks later, the news came that the deed maneuver had been stopped, because questions had been raised in the records. My father said, "We were just trying to straighten you out." My brother said, "You turned the house into a problem." I thought to myself, the problem was never the house. The problem was what they did inside it. I didn't reply. I hung a new curtain in my apartment window, wrote next month's rent date on my calendar, and increased my 401k contribution by 1%. That was my ending. No screaming, no drama, just a move that worked. When they all finally understood that I wasn't coming back, they realized I hadn't closed a door. I had ended the game. And the cleanest way to end a game is this. Build a life in silence so strong that no one's noise can ever reach it. If this story moved you, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to the channel. It truly helps more than you know. Your support keeps these stories alive and reaching the people who need them most. Thank you for watching till the end, for your time, your attention, and for being part of this journey.